Alright, hey everybody, Tekla here. Welcome back to this tutorial series. I guess it's really a two-parter, not much of a series, but if you haven't seen part one of this tutorial where I did everything in Blender, I'll link that down in the description. Go check that out, and then come back and finish the tutorial here. So, we have, coming out of Blender, this, which you see right here on the screen. That is just the base render that we got, and then we also have all of our different render passes here. So I'm going to go ahead and pull all of these passes into Photoshop one by one, and we will use those as we go. So first off, we are going to start with the this diffuse color pass. What we want to do, what we can't really do inside of Blender, is here in where all of the colors intersect in the material, we want to get some edges there as well, but Blender does not let us do that. So we're going to use this diffuse color pass to do that. First thing that you want to do is probably rasterize it so that you can desaturate this layer. And then you're going to go up to Filter, Stylize, and Find Edges. Now this is going to outline pretty well all the different colors, but as you can see, some of them are a lot lighter. They're more gray than they are black, and we want to fix that. So go ahead and hit Control M. That is going to bring up our curves window, and you just want to crunch this in a bit to where you start getting those darker black edges. Now if you go too far, everything's going to start getting grainy and gray. You don't want that. So you're going to kind of just crunch this in a bit until those gray areas start to turn black. That should be good. You can mess with this more if you want. If you want these a bit thicker, one thing that you can do is go to the Filter, Other, and do it's either minimum or maximum. It depends on if you've inverted this or not. I believe minimum is what we're looking for. Yeah. So you can do, for example, 2 pixels here, and that's going to make all these lines thicker, but it might make it a bit blurry. So we're not going to mess with that for the sake of this tutorial. So once you have this, what you want to do is select the entire layer here, hit Control C to copy this, and then we are going to add a fill layer. Add a new layer down here and just hit Shift F5, and we are going to set this to black. This is going to be our line color, but we need a mask so that the whole thing's not black, right? So add a mask down here, hit Alt and click on this mask layer, and that will let you paste in the lines that we just got from the previous layer. Now, if you notice, if you go to click back on this, it's the wrong way. Everything's black that shouldn't be black. So you need to go back to your mask and just hit Control I to invert it. And now all of the black is going to be exactly where it needs to be. And again, you might want to mess with the minimum or maximum to where, for example, these areas I think are a little too thick, so I might go back and mess with that real quick before we move on. Alright, once you've got that sorted out, next we're going to take a look at the shadow pass, which looks something like this. We're going to do the same process, essentially filter, other, stylize, and find edges. And that'll give us this nice, pretty little thing. You can crunch this in a bit if you want, but the shadow pass tends to do a pretty good job on the first try because there's not as much noise as there is with the diffuse color pass. So we'll do something like this, and then we'll head over to Filter, Other, Minimum, try to find a good balance here. Oops, sorry, not minimum. Maximum. And we'll go something like that. That should be pretty good. Again, same thing, select the whole frame, copy it, and we are going to add another layer, fill the whole thing with black again, and then our mask is going to be the inversion of what we just created. And that should give you something like this, and your shadows are nice and outlined with everything else. Alright, that is basically the workflow. We're going to do a couple more things, but if you wanted to stop there, that would give you, in most situations, that'll give you the look that you're going for. So, alright, let's see. We are going to use the emission pass here to get some nice glow going on here. All right, so we're gonna delete all the black, so we're just left with our emission pass itself. I'm gonna go ahead and make this a smart layer if it's not already. And then we are going to add a Gaussian blur to this. This is again one of those things you can just mess around with it, make it whatever you want. I'll keep it probably somewhere around 65, 70. And then we're going to turn the blending layer on this to, you can use screen, you can use linear dodge add, linear or lighter color, either one of these will be good. Again, just depends on the look that you're going for. For this one, am going to use linear dodge. And then you can just mess with the opacity, bring it down, just to give a little bit of glow to those, to the emissive areas. Again, nothing crazy. We're not going for realism here. This is just a matter of preference, whatever you want it to look like. So we'll keep it somewhere around 55. And then from here, I will just go ahead and take all of my visible layers, duplicate them, and combine them into one. And then this will be our layer we'll hit with the camera raw filter just to add some nice finishing touches, and we will be done. So I'll convert that to a smart object. Control Shift A will give us the camera raw filter. I'm not going to mess too much with this, maybe just a little bit with the exposure, contrast, some of the highlights, shadows maybe, yeah, a little bit. Color, I'll leave this pretty much in the middle. I messed enough with the color in Blender, I don't really need to change that very much. Same with the tint, I'll leave it at 0 for this piece. Vibrance, maybe up a little bit, and maybe drop the saturation just a hair. For effects, you can mess with the texture if you want. I'll maybe bring it up a little bit. Clarity should be fine in the middle. Maybe bring the dehaze down a little bit. And the vignette. And a big part of this is going to be grain. I like adding grain to these ones, so maybe something around 25 or so. That'll give us some nice graininess to the overall image. Other than that, you can mess with color mixing if you would like. You know, with the reds, with us having this crystal here, I might make it a little more orange. But again, just a matter of preference. Whatever you want to do with your piece, it's up to you. And then the last thing that we'll do is take a look at the mist pass. If you want to drop this on top, you can use this as a way to add just a little bit more depth to the image. Let's see here. I'll drop the opacity down quite a bit, and then maybe change the hue to something a little blue. Maybe drop the darkness a little bit. Yeah, something like that. All right. And just like that, we have a finished product. All right, everybody, that will do it for the series of tutorials. Thank you so much for coming along. If you found this helpful, go ahead and give it a like, share it with somebody that you think might find it helpful as well. Otherwise, you can follow me on Instagram in the link down in the description. That's where I'm the most active, and I post all of my artwork down there regularly. So, other than that, that's all I got. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks.